My name's Sam Goodchild, the skipper of the IMOCA For the Planet, and we're in Cherbourg. We've just finished the Fastnet Race 2023, and it's been an exciting few days. So it's a new boat for me. I've been sailing it since April. It's a new class for me, so there's a lot of unknowns, and we didn't really know where we'd sit and where we'd be. But we know expected to be third with the sorts of competitors we have. So yeah, really excited to have finished third, and we put the bar a bit high for the rest of the project, but we can't complain. So it's a two-boat project which was initiated by Thomas Ruyant and his sponsor Advent, and I guess all the stars aligned with Leighton as well, who I've been working with for the last 4 years, and the fact that Thomas and Advent were looking for a co-skipper or another skipper to take on their old boat as they were building a new boat. So the desire has come from there. And yeah, so far it's pretty good. It's kind of we're proving the as we go along, because it's not, as you say, it's never been done before, and how it works, and it depends a lot as to who the personalities are and how they work. So yeah, for me, it's a dream come true, and it's perfect for first Vendée Globe cycle or first Vendée Globe to be able to pick up one of the reference boats for the last 3 or 4 years. And run it internally, basically, with the company that have been running it. So all the tricks and tips and what works and what doesn't work, it's still in house, and we've still got that. And it's really open book between the two boats as to what information is shared. And then on top of that, Tom is a great guy, so he's keen to make the whole collective work, and I'm keen to make it all work. So everyone works together to have two stronger boats at the start of the Vendée Globe in 18 months' time. So yeah, it's got a lot of potential, and so far it's working. The reason they set up this program was they knew that this boat has lots of potential, and they wanted to use that to progress their new boats. They've obviously made a boat better within this one, because that's why they changed boats. It wasn't just for fun. And so the idea is we do a lot of two-boat testing, a lot of discussing as to what works, what doesn't work, and it's much more efficiently to go training with two boats, because you talk to each other, and there's lots of communication as to what works, what doesn't work. You're not trying to look in the details of data. It's really kind of evident quite quickly. And then for me, I've had a bit of a background in sailing other boats, so I try and bring what I came to the table of just thinking about boats differently. And then Antoine Koch, who's my co-skipper for 2023, designed the new boat, Thomas' new boat, has sailed on this boat before, and so it kind of all fits quite well together. Everyone's kind of invested in the collective to make sure both teams are stronger at races, basically.
And as you said, this.
Can we just? So yeah, when we picked up this project, our main aim was just to learn how to use it rather than try and change everything. So we kind of picked up the boat as it was, and are working hard to make sure it's reliable, because they're complicated boats, and so we've changed absolutely nothing. And I guess the most central place to start is downstairs in the chart table seat, which is where basically the whole boat's around that. So yeah, this is a sailing position, so it's quite practical. So you're just at the entrance to the boat, so you can get out to the cockpit if necessary. And we've got screens on either side, so we can have a chart table which can line up as we like. We've got one on the other side, so we can spin the chair around. And normally asleep is something like this, so it's pretty good. And then we've got another chart table seat here, which basically means you can, depending on how the boat's leaning over and moving, you can get yourself as comfortable as possible and have a good idea as to what's going on. Yes, like I said, I've adopted what was left with me, but I'm not complaining.
Do you sleep in the chair?
You can sleep in the chair, yeah. When we're double-handed, we get to sleep in a bunk. When we're single-handed, I feel like I might spend a bit more time in a chair, just because it's a bit more stressful, and you need to be a little bit more reactive rather than if there's someone already on deck. So you can sleep in the chair, and yeah. The learning curve's steep for sure. I've been sailing this one since April, and there's loads of system on board, and we've got a 7 or 8 man technical team that work on the boat almost permanently on a full-time job anyway. And yes, there's a lot going on, and I can't possibly understand or work on all of it, so I rely on them quite a lot before the race. And then during races, it's one of the only things we're allowed from outside is assistance in repairing a technical problem. So for the first set we had a couple, and I was able to speak to the technical team, and they said, check this out, check that out. They're obviously not on board, so they can't do it, so I need to have a bit of a vague idea as to how things work and where to find the bits and pieces. But the boats are super complicated, and it's interesting, but it's a steep learning curve. I guess the most surprising thing is how uncomfortable they are. With the foils you end up going faster, so when you stop, whether it's slamming or whether it's nosediving, it's a lot more violent. because the boat's just going so much faster with the fact the foil lifts the boat out of the water. So that's probably the most surprising bit. And anything else? No, I sailed a whole seam in the ocean race, and then this one, and it's to see the differences in such a short period of time has been great. And obviously this boat's had 4 successful years, so to pick it up from that, you feel that they've had more time to go into the details compared to a brand new boat. So, there's lots of things which are impressive, but I guess those are the ones that stand out. I guess the only common denominator with my sailing career to date has always been trying to push and learn stuff and trying to do something different and push myself out of my comfort zone. So I guess it's daunting, but in a way that I quite like it. I like thinking that in 18 months' time I'm going to have to sail this boat around the world on my own, and right now I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go, and it's a bit daunting, a bit scary, but that's kind of what motivates me to make it work. And then when you put on top of that the whole competition side of things, there's 40 boats and everyone's most people are trying to do as best as possible. Like, it's quite exciting, daunting, I don't know what the word is, but yes, it's motivating, that's for sure. So we just done the Fastnet, and the next race is the Azimuth. So the Azimuth's in September. It's a 4 or 5 day event where we do inshore and offshore. That's double-handed as well. Then in end of October, there's the Transat Jacques Vabre. So that's across the Atlantic from Le Havre in France to Martinique. And then back from Martinique, we have a single-handed race back, which is my first of 2 qualifiers for the Vendée Globe. So that's a fairly important one for us in terms of qualifying for the Vendée Globe. And then next year we've got a Transat from Les Sables d'Olonne, so France to New York, and then New York and back again, both of them single-handedly. And then that brings us to the end of June roughly, and by the end of June it's 3 months from the Vendée Globe and not a lot of time for anything else. So yeah, it's gonna go quickly. Yes, it's awesome. It's the reason I'm in France is because I want to do this, and the reason I'm finding myself in France, not on my own, is Jack Boutel out there. There's Alan Roberts spends a lot of time. And like you say, well, Jack just won the ocean race, and Alan's done the ocean race as well, and myself as well. So to see us kind of all, we started 10 years ago together with this dream of breaking into the offshore sailing world, and part of that has been moving to France, unfortunately. But it doesn't mean we don't feel British anymore, and we keep a special link to home. And when we get home, it's great. So yes, it's exciting to see the movement. What was it? In 2008, they had 6 British skippers, and we can't be too far off that again. So we're going in the right direction, and it's exciting times. No, so I've got a technical team with a lot of humour, and we had a Mr. Bean, and we had a Queen. It's our 2 mascots for the boat. So yeah, it's quite funny. Little reminders to remind yourself that we spend a lot of time on the boat. You've got to enjoy life a little bit as you go.